I draw my line in the sand right there.
New PlayStation controller is really nice, and something that the Xbox One and the PlayStation have in common is that you ain't seeing crap in terms of graphics performance yet, because developers, as always, are months, if not a year or two, behind the launch of the hardware in the new console. That said, so PlayStation 4, Blu-ray player, game player, and of course, oh, I forgot, it's got Netflix and Amazon Prime and all of your sort of favorite pretty much all the classic streaming apps.
There are some core functionality, basically media streaming and certain media file support that seems to be not quite there yet.
Not even considered in the PlayStation 4.
Hopefully coming soon, but no word yet.
So the Xbox One obviously has the Kinect, and it's kind of funny because we're like what the Kinect sees. There's like 10%, I want to say 10% of the cores in the GPU on the Xbox One are basically sitting and keeping an eye on the Kinect, right? So it's funny, like, look, it's picking up our camera operator as a guest in the back, and you start playing around, and you can be like, oh, yes, it really can see you in the dark. The Kinect One's kind of creepy when you start looking at the spectrums of the light it looks at, and think about the fact that it's on 24/7. So we can turn all the lights out, and look, kids.
Oh, it sees in the dark, no doubt.
It sees in the dark. It's kind of funny because you can actually see the...
And I want to guess, too, the color coding is for the depth perception in terms of how deep is the object within the scene it's looking at, and things like that as well. It's kind of cool that it actually gives you that Kinect view of that. And, of course, built-in stereo mic within, I believe it's a stereo field array mic within the unit itself, which, when you're using services like Netflix and others, you can use your voice to control the service very easily.
Yeah,
well, it works surprisingly well on the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see if they've done some improvements in terms of functionality with the Xbox One.
I should also point out that I am invisible to machines and Robert isn't, so our our results with things that involve you going like this to change channels are slightly different at times.
In a quiet room.
In a quiet room.
In a quiet room, it works surprisingly well.
Yeah, actually,
you're navigating your titles and saying specific content, and it plays, and I love that kind of interactivity, especially if you're in the kitchen with your hands all dirty or doing whatever, and you can't reach for the remote and end up with a fungy-looking remote. So
Xbox One on, play mayhem. But so right now we're actually showing a Spears and Munsell calibration DVD up here. So it plays DVDs. It's going to play CDs. It plays Blu-rays quite well. If you're looking really closely at our highly compressed stream on the internet and going like, I think I detect some issues with this. This is actually a 4K monitor we're going to be reviewing later in the show. So don't be judging graphics qualities based on a DVD being upscaled to 4K.
22 times the resolution, something like that, roughly. A lot more pixels on the screen than the content being displayed. So there's HDMI pass-through ports on the back for your satellite or cable television. Obviously, I can't test that at home because I cut the cable years ago and lopped the satellite dish off the roof. But by pretty much everybody saying one guide is cool. It makes it really easy to find programs. There's really not much in the way of DVR functionality on that. I really like the idea of the app channel integration, which is, if you are subscribed to Hulu, it will show up in the one guide. That's pretty cool. But all of this, and on both platforms, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it is all very early, and we expect to see a lot of change in the none too distant futures. It's Microsoft's Play 2 standard for DLNA, so it's kind of a Microsoft version of DLNA, which doesn't exactly thrill me. Should work great within a Windows 8 environment, I'm sure, and Windows 7.
Yeah. But if you have a whole bunch of old stuff, you might find it a little frustrating. We have not had as much time as I would like to test either this or the PlayStation 4, but generally speaking, they both play games really well. The launch titles are a little bit better on the Xbox One. The Xbox One is doing a lot more in terms of being a complete home theater device, and obviously thinking that cable and satellite are a big deal and integrating that. Basically, this wants to be your gateway to your HD TV.
The HDMI pass-through is pretty cool stuff, and I can't wait to see what they'll be doing with that, because that's something that Google TV has offered on their products for a while, yet it never really seemed to go anywhere with that. And combine that with a very, very quiet set-top box, at least as far as it's sitting right beside me doing its regular menu stuff. I'm not hearing hardly a peep on that. I have to put my ear right on it to hear the fan
we're also not playing
whirring.
any games yet.
Yeah, that's the thing. We gotta get something that generates some GPU heat.
I fire up Forza, and it's going to get much like Forza. Yeah. Gotta love Forza. Netflix support, all of your basic applications are available in there. It's a good thing. We should actually we should stop talking about this.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm sorry.
It's over.
I do a mic drop
here,
with the controller, but Tara and Adam would kill me.
I got something for you, though. Now, from the We All Saw This Coming department, Variety is reporting that the National Football League and Major League Baseball are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to hear their challenge to the legality of Aereo, an online live TV service. Now, the sports franchises are claiming that the supposed redistribution of its content circumvents their ability to collect license fees that are paid by cable and satellite outlets. Now, Aereo is quick to point out that each of the subscribers to their service are using a DTV antenna to capture that free-to-air broadcast content that should be considered, quote, a legal private transmission and not a public performance in violation of the Copyright Act. So, they're going to go at this quite hard, you can tell, because there's a lot of money involved. And NFL and MLB are basically saying, look, if you don't help us in this respect, we may be forced then to move all of our content to pay cable instead of having any of it being broadcast over the free-to-air broadcast system.
Wait a minute, doesn't Aereo lock you down to local broadcasts in your area?
That's what I thought.
Wouldn't those be the same delete expletive games that are already blacked out that I can't watch even though I can't buy a ticket because I can't afford it anymore?
But what if it's just outside of your range? I'm wondering, is there any sharing of other reception involved? Like, say I'm not getting good reception of my local station, but my neighbor a mile away is.
Okay.
That's something about Aereo I'm not sure about. Are they actually sharing other people's reception streams if one's better than another?
We should check to see whether or not, because the last 2 or 3 times we checked, we have not been able to get Aereo anywhere in the California scene. If you're using Aereo, do us a favor, email us htnation@revision3.com. We're curious to hear what you have to say. But it's mostly whenever I hear at this point about anything involving MLB or the NFL, I automatically assume they're getting even greedier than they were, and they just want the Supreme Court to decide that they can have all the crack distribution rights in North America and all the crank distribution rights, because that's exactly how crappy I feel about pretty much the NFL and the MLB and them shifting stadiums around and basically this whole stadium thing. I'm fed up with it.
That may be.
I'm fed up with that. I'm fed up with billions of dollars. I'm fed up with misbehaving NFL players. I'm done with it.
As far as the
no NFL in my
the
house.
sport itself, perhaps. But I will say the MLB app on my mobile device is something
awesome.
I can't live without that.
Okay. Well, maybe, I don't know. It's like the Supreme Court won't deal with the NSA. They're really going to deal with whether or not, you can move free broadcasts around after
our priorities are out of whack. Yes.
Yes. From the you may want to think twice before connecting your HDTV to the Internet Department. A UK LG TV owner found an LG produced video that mentioned they collect usage data on LG smart televisions. What? Yes, LG owner finds related setting in TV menu and turns feature off. This is up on the
Dr. Beats blog.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Beats blog.
drbeat.blogspot.uk. The owner monitors traffic after making adjustments and notices every channel change results in a phone home event. He also notices that it reports contents of connected storage devices. What?
Yeah.
The owner notes that the IP address listing for the data wasn't responding, but it could be enabled without much effort or notice. And the owner provides a list of IP addresses to block via your router setup to prevent the TV from revealing viewing habits and the contents of your external storage. LG, WTF. Now,
I have a feeling everyone's doing this if you really read the licensing agreements. Like when you fire up a brand new TV nowadays, if it's a smart TV, it's going to ask you to check the boxes to say you agree to this agreement that you never read. I'm sure there's some fine print in there that says specifically what they're going to do is
we can track everything you do or connect to our television.
Collect that kind of information. And there's a couple easy fixes. One, don't connect your TV to the internet, number one, unless you're doing something like a firmware update, and then disconnect it. Number two would be he does provide that list of specific IP addresses that could change, but you could add those to your router and then block that kind of communication back and forth between your TV and the people trying to understand what it is you like to watch on your TV. The connected devices part was a little freaky, where it's actually scanning like a connected hard drive to see what you have. And he did a pretty thorough investigation using great tools to get it done. And
what's that? It's a lawyer wanting to know why you have a copy of this movie on your hard drive. Prove it! In the 72 pages of
but that's a good
user
observation.
License you approved. Yeah, it's really freaky, man.
And just remember, if you are using the services built into your TV, chances are some of that information is being fed back to whoever's providing you the content or the manufacturer itself, where they will sell that information. Hopefully in an anonymized fashion, but you never know.
I love my dumb projector. We got this email from Kenny, who writes in, Dear HD Nation, hello Patrick and Robert. I've been a fan of the show since day one. Thank you, and enjoy it a lot. My question is, do you guys think Blu-ray disc transfers have gotten better since Blu-ray first came out in 2006? I can remember the early Blu-ray disc transfers like Superman Returns, The Fifth Element, Gangs of New York, etc., having not so great transfers. Thank goodness, though, that The Fifth Element, Gangs of New York were reissued, but Superman Returns has not gotten a new transfer. Please, Please, Warner Brothers, reissue that disc. Do you think Blu-ray transfers are now much better or about the same? Thanks, love the show, and keep up the good work with HD Nation. Sincerely, Kenny from Ohio.
Kenny!
I can remember you and I sitting in the HDTV testing labs when you were still working at PC Mag, and I was still doing, well, we were still doing DLTV, and we were looking at the first round of Blu-ray titles. Great movies. The transfers were a joke. As in, somebody went, hey, we built the hardware, we need movies. And then
there were format wars still going on, so nobody was really paying attention to the quality of what they were actually pushing out.
You and I were, but it was funny because the HD DVD, the original round of HD DVD titles were flawless transfers. The Blu-ray transfers that first came out were a joke. Like, they grabbed the distribution print, scratches, hair.
For a one-way ticket to elegance, Axe recommends the clean-cut look. First, mix the pomade. Now run your fingers deeply through that well-traveled hair of yours. Finally, side-part it and comb it backwards. Voila. However, he is not just a pretty hairstyle. He can also refold any map with finesse and no sticky fingers. Hair-tastic. Mix, rake, comb. Easy for every day.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Drew Flo, and today I have a kind of special video, I guess. It's not a gameplay video. This is just a video to kind of inform you guys of what's going on with the Xbox One versus the PS4. Now, a lot of you have probably heard that the Xbox One will only be running Call of Duty Ghosts at 720p natively, while the PS4 will be running it at 1080p natively, which means that the Xbox One will be upscaled to 1080p. So it's not true 1080p, but it is upscaled, meaning that basically what you're seeing in the image right here, the left side is the Xbox One and the right side is the PS4. There's a little bit of a difference, you can tell. I know it's kind of hard because it's YouTube, so you can't see a huge difference. If you're watching this on a 60-inch monitor, then you'll probably see the difference, but other than that, the difference is very minimal. After about a minute of this video, you'll see it zoom in. Here we go. It zooms in and you can kind of see it's a little bit more blurry on the Xbox's side and a little bit more crisp on the PS4 side. You can really tell by looking at the street and kind of the cracks in the street. That's the easiest place to tell the difference. But yeah, guys, that's basically the difference. It's not a huge difference unless you've got a really big TV. It is different for me. I do like the PS4 quality better, so that's just my preference. I enjoy that a lot better. I'd rather it be as clear and crisp as possible with the 1080p than the upscaled 1080p. So yeah, guys, the difference is minimal. It's really not